Noah, we are back for the Freo Faithful podcast, episode number Jonathan Griffin. For those playing along at home.
Great pull.
Number 12, coming off a second consecutive loss against Collingwood. How are you getting along, young man?
Oh, mate, I could not be better. The club is in an absolute shambles. I've got no hope we win this week. And, honestly, just positive vibes all around.
Positive vibes all round. We'll get into the GWS game and, you know, they've had a bit of a form slump themselves, but they had a massive away win against Geelong on the weekend. So hopefully we can come off this form slump and have a massive away win this week against the Giants. But first and foremost, we need to unpack that Collingwood game, Noah. You were there. What did you see? What happened? And why did we lose?
It was a long time ago. We're filming this Tuesday night. We played nearly a week ago. So look, the 9-day break.
Ago. No. All right, keep going.
That's really poor to start the pod. 9-day break will help us going into the Giants game. Playing a Thursday, it's certainly a struggle. Look, I literally think we just got beaten by a better team. And I think for portions, everyone could see that we played our footy in stages and then just went into our shell in the second half. It was so bizarre how our switch just flipped. It was like we thought we were just cruising along in the first half and we could just cruise our way to victory. And we just completely dropped our intensity in the second half. We sort of got back into it with about 15 minutes to go in the fourth. But Collingwood, very professional outfit, a lot of depth, even with all those outs. Just closed out the game really well. Their pressure was top-notch all day. Their stars stood up. Jamie Elliott kicked 15 or something. I'm not sure how many, but it was a very, very hard watch. We've been crying out for a respectable loss, and I was hoping that a 14-point loss against the best team in the comp would be that. But I sort of came out of it really flat, knowing that we had more to give, which I think was the really annoying thing.
Yeah, people are sort of saying, and you sort of alluded to it there, like, oh, we lost to a better team. And, like, experience-wise, yes. But there's no reason we shouldn't be beating Collingwood at home. Like, the frustrating part for me is you look at it on paper and you go, oh, 14-point loss against Collingwood. Is it that bad? Yes, it's that bad. Because Optus should be a fortress, number one. And two, we were so easy to beat. Watching it at home, all Collingwood did all day was intercept mark the ball that we were kicking from 90 metres out, trying to put it on the head of Josh Tracy and Jai Amos and Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson and Paddy Voss running into the same pack at the same time all night long. And eventually when they all run into each other, Darcy Moore or Billy Frampton or Jeremy Howe, I think Jeremy Howe played, would intercept the ball. They'd get one kick out, like one composed kick out of D50, and then Bobby Hill, Lockie Schultz, or Jamie Elliott would just sprint. Jack Crisp, steel side bottom, would just bomb it long. It was so easy to beat us. Like that literally would have been like coaching day one, play on counter-attack, high half forwards, get up the ground, beat defenders in foot race back. Like, it wasn't like we set up well behind the ball. We won inside 50s, we won clearances, and our inside 50 ball movement was just absolute mud. So it pissed me off because it was just like, we were so easy to beat, Noah. And the better team narrative, oh, Collingwood are a better side, they're more experienced. Yeah, and they dropped like 4 of their best 10 players. We should have won that game. Another one. Like, and yeah, you sort of said we sort of cruised a little bit. I thought we did as well. Like, I thought we were the better team in the first half. We just made stupid mistakes. 2 red time goals. Just unprofessional, just giving up the ball too easily. Having said that, I did like the way we played in the first half. But I sort of just word vomited there, and I can continue to do that. But do you make anything of what I just said?
Yeah, look, it was, they literally just had to find one outlet kick and they were away. I think one play
that's all they did.
Literally signified the game was McCreary winning that 1-on-1 in the middle of the ground versus Brayshaw. And they had about 5 people forward. I don't think, had 1 defender, and they just went out the back and scored an easy one. Probably ended up with Bobby Hill or Jamie Elliott. That literally, I remember that play, and I think it was third quarter, and it literally just went through my body like, this isn't our night. It was really, really annoying. Another thing, 15 minutes to go. So they've built up Wolfie time pre-season, right? They've really built this up. I thought Wolfie time was final 5 minutes, under a goal, whatnot. 18 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, they've chucked on Wolfie time. Look, I'm not sure who's controlling it, but not a fan of it being deployed that early.
I sort of am, to be honest, because it was that point of the game, it was like now or never to get going. Like, we just had to. I feel like Wolfie times, you roll up the sleeves and you got to go. I reckon.
I think we've got a 0% win rate with Wolfie time as well. I just want to put it out there. I think the first time we deployed it was the draw against Collingwood last year. We did it for the Geelong loss last year. Look, I'm not sure if it works or not. Like, it gets the stadium up and about, but we might have to look into the Wolfie time curse if it gets any worse.
Yeah. Every time we're under pressure, we usually crumble. And Wolfie time is a great way to bring the pressure and go, it is now or never, lads. And we sort of just crumble.
Yeah, it's not a coincidence, is it? You mentioned earlier the inside 50 count. That wasn't just like winning the inside 50 count by a couple. We won it by 29. Plus 29 inside 50s, and we lose the game of football. I don't really understand how that happens. I think a lot of the blame has to be put on the back line. I thought Luke Ryan was really bad for his standards. I think Luke Ryan's one of those players we hold to a high standard because we know what he can do. He's been a multiple-time All-Australian. I thought his ball movement out of the back line, we've mentioned that he's the catalyst from back there. He sets the tempo a lot of the time. And when you've got Geordie Clark, who is so eager to get the ball forward and break the lines off halfback, even Cooper Simpson showed some of that urgency. Luke Ryan slowed the game down every time the ball got into his hands, and I thought that really just let Collingwood set up well behind the ball. They're probably the best team in the comp at setting up behind the ball. And then you had Voss, Jackson, Tracy, Amos, whoever else was down there, just all congested in one pack, and there was no movement. So I think Luke Ryan in particular, but a lot of our backline really slowed the game down from the back half, and I think that's where most of our problems stemmed.
Yeah, it wasn't the best days for many of our defenders. I thought Chappie had one of probably his worst game of the year, but I'm not going to hop on Chappie's back because, we're a big fan of him. But yeah, Geordie Clark is a player that can hold his head high after that game. That was one of the best games I've ever seen him play. I think he had like 31 disposals. He was just everywhere. He was getting the ball moving forward for us. He seems like a truly capable leader in that back line. Even though you got Alex Pearce there, he seems to be the guy that sort of can flick the switch for us and be a bit of a barometer for us. We can speak about Cooper Simpson as well whilst we're on the defenders. We're sort of lacking small defenders, as you can tell when you play a side like Collingwood, who have Elliott, Schultz, Bobby Hill, McCreary, sort of mid-size. Cooper Simpson comes in. I think he looks pretty slick with his foot skills. Feel like he just needs to get up to the speed of AFL. He was just a little bit slow to get back on his mark and hit the kick at times. But, what can you expect? It's his, third game of AFL.
Yeah.
I think there is a place for him in this side. Didn't really get to see too much of him defensively, but I'm sure that will come. What irritated me the most, this is a negative podcast because we've lost, but the stark contrast between the first half and the second half of the game, Noah. In the first half, we were on. I thought we took the game on. We were moving the ball quickly. I was playing a game with myself, watching at home, where I'd count to 3 every time a player took a mark and see how long it took them to move the ball. So they chip, 1, 2, 3. Do they move it? Do they slow it up? And for the most part, we were moving it quick. We've been criticised for not taking off the corridor kick or not trusting our foot skills to take a long kick down the line over a defender or whatever it is. And I thought we did that well in the first half. I couldn't believe the difference in that third quarter when we came out and it looked like the St Kilda game. We weren't confident to take that kick. We didn't want to run and use our hands. It was just a complete night and day. And I don't know coaching. I'm not a football coach. I play in the lowest division of football. There's zero tactics. And I just speak to my mate Noah once a week about the Dockers. But that seemed like it was a directive from the coaching staff of the Dockers to come out in the third quarter and control it a little bit more. Maybe that's smart to, reduce the chaos and that type of thing. But I think when we switch phase into that game so deliberately and so like, right, we are now going to switch, rather than allowing the game to come to us like an experienced side like Collingwood does. It doesn't benefit us. It just makes us go into our shells. It loses our confidence. Our pressure drops. And I felt like that was a directive at 3/4 time, because the way we were playing in the third and even the fourth when we were going for it, we just sort of said, screw it, let's go for this. Let's handball the ball forward. Let's just run and trust that our teammates will be there. Even though it left us a little bit vulnerable defensively in the fourth quarter. I know you can't do that for the whole game, but our offensive machine looked better. And yeah, I feel like we were the better team in that first half, like I said before. And yeah, we just need to play with a bit more risk at times, because it looks better, and I think it plays to our strengths more. Another point on that, I know I've been speaking for a long time here, but I feel like we were, really doing that sort of bombing technique, like bomb it to the heads of Darcy or any of the tools, mostly in that third quarter. We kicked 7 goals in the first half, and only 1 in the third quarter. I feel like when we move the ball so slow, like you said, Collingwood would just set up behind the ball. But when you take the risk, when you get that overlap and create a little bit of chaos, it gives your forwards more freedom to sort of lead into. Not only does it take away the shit football and increase our pressure when we take the game on a little bit, I feel like it opens up our forward line to make that forward connection work better as well. You can now speak.
Thank you, mate. I don't really know where to start, to be honest. Look, I think the speed out of the back line, I know I touched on it before, but we've got to get games into Cooper Simpson. Like, we've given someone like Matt Johnson, I think is a prime example, we've given a massive run of games to him. Just no matter what, haven't taken form into account. We've just said, this is a young player, we're going to inject him into this team, and we're just going to give him... We're giving games. Exactly right. Same with Jai Amos. We've got to do this with Cooper Simpson, because we need another line breaker in that back line. Brandon Walker, you would say, is in our best 22, but he plays a bit deeper. I wouldn't necessarily call him a line breaker. He doesn't get up the field as much. Cooper Simpson was drafted as a forward, and a lot of the times he was found getting involved in the attacking play or resting on the top of the 50. So he's got that natural forward polish as well. And I think he's been working on his sort of halfback craft really nicely at Peel. So we've just got to get games into him. He's like the prototype modern sort of halfback. And if him and Geordie Clark can build some sort of connection back there, then I think that'll be crucial in our long-term success. You mentioned just not letting the game come to us. We talk about like making Optus a fortress. We played like the away team in that second half. Like, we let Collingwood just control the game. Like, we had the crowd behind us. There were 50K in the house. And yet we still were just playing this passive football like there was 100,000 people chanting Collingwood at us.
Is it true that people were, like, booing at points in that third quarter? Like, the fans... Yeah. Like, you could
it was really hostile.
Fans, yeah, you could hear, like... Because, when that switch happened from the first half to the third quarter, on the TV, you could just hear the frustration.
Mm-hmm.
It's like...
Absolutely.
We've had enough. Like, we're actually at the point now where we've won... I know I keep going on about this, but we've won one final in a decade. And, like, we just want to fucking take the game into our own hands. Take our own... Yeah, make our own fate. Don't go into your shells, man. Like, it's been too long. Our trajectory was meant to be up here. We are down here. I said it last week.
You hear that many people just like yelling kick it forward at the footy. And over the years, you'd just be like, oh, kick it forward. Yeah, don't watch football, work the ball around, get a good entry inside 50. Look, on Thursday, I was yelling kick it forward. I'm not ashamed to say it because it was just that frustrating.
It's not just kick it forward. It's just take the game on. Like,
yeah.
It's not kick it forward and then they do kick it forward and it's a dump kick from 80 metres to get inside 50. Like, just take the game on a little bit. Surely we've got enough systems in place. I know JL's drilled into them to play on instinct, and if they think they can make a difference. But, man, that frustration wasn't frustration of, oh, we're controlling the ball. It was frustration of, we have been so timid and so shit for so long. Go and win a game. Show some hunger to win that. And, look, I thought the players cracked in. Can't really question that, but... Yeah, the frustration is definitely there. You mentioned Matt Johnson. Putting games into him, putting games into Amos. I can't stand up for Amos anymore. There's another big fella that I can't really stand up for anymore as well in Sean Darcy, but I've been a fan that is, and I always do want the best for all of our players, and I do want to look at the upside, and, form does come and go, but Jai Amos's form slump has now been going for since the start of last year, really. Like, he might have one good game here or there, but he hasn't been a player that we can rely on week to week like Josh Tracy has. He doesn't crack in the same as Patrick Voss does. You can almost make an argument that Jai Amos is our worst forward, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, it's weird that we've just given him this run of games since the start of his career with just such reluctance to send him to the twos. Aaron Cadman was the number one pick, spent bulk time in the VFL, and he's now really making a difference alongside Jesse Hogan in that Giants forward line. And I can guarantee he will have a good game this weekend because he's been in good form. For some reason, we're so reluctant to send him to the twos. This is a guy that, yes, he's, was he top 10? He was around that mark.
Yeah, I think he was pick 7.
Yeah, it was one of the best WA products in that draft class. And obviously, as a key forward, they take longer to develop. They take longer to sort of mould at AFL level. But we've just chucked him in the deep end from the start of his career to sort of be our main guy. And I think with Josh Tracy in there now, who we've given time since we drafted him, and he's really now building into that superstar we thought he could become, we've got to do the same with Jai Amos. We haven't done what we've done with... Josh Tracy built over a long period of time with the Waffle, some sporadic AFL appearances. He cracked in. He worked on his craft. Jai Amos has just been told to play AFL week in, week out and learn on the go. And it's not a healthy way to learn as a key forward. So, look, I'm not sure we're going to do it, but for me, and I think you'll agree, he needs a spell on the twos.
Well, I just don't get, we've said for so long, there's competition for spots. It's not competition for spots when players that are in bad form are getting games. Matt Johnson's ball use in the last month has been fucking terrible. He gets the ball. I've started calling him Tumble Johnson because it's just when he gets it in the sort of forward 70 area, he's just going to butcher the kick. If he finds himself inside 50, he's not got the skills to finish at the moment. It's not got the confidence to finish in front of goal. I think he kicks 0-3. If he kicks 3-0, I know it's a tough task and some of those shots were tough, but that's the difference in the game. But yeah, there was one against St Kilda where he was sort of 60 metres out from goal and he just runs into 50 and just does his handball. And it's the forward should be hitting up at him for one, but you just know he's always second guessing himself when he has the ball in his hands, Matt Johnson. And I know we don't really have a luxury of that many big-bodied midfielders, especially with Hayden Young out, but tell you a guy that can kick the ball inside 50, one thing he can do very well, Neil Erasmus, is kick the ball. That's probably his best attribute. So is it time for Neil Erasmus to step up? You speak about, sending Josh Tracy to the twos and, he had to fight his way back in. Neil Erasmus spoke about it over the off-season that, he had offers from other clubs, but he wanted to fight for his place at Freo and prove that he's going to be a good player for us. Johnson's been in the side the whole time. I think it was their first year. I think it was 2022. Erasmus and Johnson pretty much played a whole year of waffle together when Will Brodie was in the side. And Erasmus has come in. He's probably played about 20 to 25 games, I would say, but it's never been a run of 10 or 15. Erasmus was a very highly rated draft prospect in that draft. He was even rated to go in the top 5 at points. So I don't know. Can Erasmus come in and step up? I think we've got to make big calls with some players. And again, people are probably at home going, "Oh mate, come on, we only lost by 2 kicks to Collingwood." But it pisses me off because we're still at 65% of our best. And after the last 2 weeks, after the Melbourne loss, it's are we just going to keep going on with this? Are we just going to allow players to play in this side that aren't in form?
Yeah, exactly right. I think Matt Johnson's getting a bit comfortable with his position in the 22, which is never a good thing, especially for a young player. And we have had guys knocking the door down at Peel, but I think JL's reluctance to reward that form is making Matt Johnson quite comfortable at the level. I think it's the same thing. You've just got to send him into a Waffle environment where he can sort of just refine the basics, because we know he'll go down to the Waffle level and get 40 touches and kick 2 goals and whatnot. But it's just refining the basics that'll actually make him useful at AFL level. You saw Neil Erasmus's ball usage in the fourth quarter on Thursday, and it was absolutely pristine. Some of his inside 50 entries on a day where we could not buy a mark inside 50 were so good. He was just finding those good shallow entries. We've got some really good deep set shots in our team, and we just sometimes really don't take advantage of it. And I thought Raz was in the fourth quarter. We've obviously got Nathan O'Driscoll to come back this week.
Yes.
So that'll obviously...
God, I forgot about that. Thank God not he's back.
Very good. So we'll have to... discuss what we do at the selection table a bit later on, but yeah, we've got some decisions to make in the engine room this week, and yeah, I think he has to be rewarded for form. I still think he's got the hunger to be a Fremantle footballer, a Fremantle best 22 footballer. I don't think there's any lack of hunger from anyone in the club. I just think we've got to start rewarding that from some guys who haven't been given the chance.
Yeah, and don't settle for mediocrity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. God. All right. We've got to talk about Sean Darcy, Noah. Right. Last year, I think we were 8-3 when Darcy and Jackson played in the same, in the side together. So maybe I'm going a little bit early here. But Sean Darcy has had, 4 or 5 weeks to build now. He played against Richmond, played against Melbourne, whoever we played. Yeah, Adelaide. So he's played about 5 games now. And, when you're at the ground, he's covering the ground better. Like, he's moving across the deck a little bit better. But I asked you, I was like, when you were at the game, I was like, who's impressing you out there? And you're like, Sean Darcy. And I was watching it at home, and I'm like, is he actually impressing you? And I was messaging other Freo fans. And they're like, we need time for Sean Darcy to build. And it's like, when will the stars align for this guy? When is going to be the perfect day for Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson and this dynamic to click? Because the amount of injuries Sean Darcy has had over the past 3 years, the perfect time for him to come into form is when he's in the team. Because history's shown he's not going to be able to play a full season. Apparently, he's going to get up this week for GWS. Even though he had a jarred knee, which is concerning given all the issues that he's had with his knee. Like, maybe they're just covering it up, I don't know. But at the St Kilda game that I was at, the ruck dynamic between Darcy and Jackson just looked confusing. They both were just like, we sort of swing in and out sporadically throughout the game. It's hard to build continuity and confidence in your game when you're shuffling forward, ruck, bench, wherever. And we can all see that our midfield looks so much better when Luke Jackson's in there. Yeah. Like, yes, Sean Darcy is a good tap ruckman, but when you're paying him whatever we're paying him, like, Kane Corns is right about it. Like, we're paying 2 ruckmen stupid money to play the same position, and Luke Jackson is head and shoulders above. Darcy had a great season in 2022. Can't really remember his year in 2023 because I was in England, to be honest. That Freo was shit, but I didn't really watch too much footy that season. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if we're just going to keep being this club that is just nice to players, like, Sean Darcy, we like you as a person. You can stay on that contract as long as you want. Matt Johnson, Jai Amos, you guys aren't in form. We'll just keep playing you in the ones anyway. Like, we need to be more cutthroat.
Yeah, absolutely.
These decisions will come back to bite you on the bum. And look, I'm not trying to ship off Sean Darcy, but I think a big decision needs to be made. I don't think this is going to work long term. Personally, would love to be proven wrong, but there's a fella called Cozzy Pickett that's trying to get over to Freo, and I think we'd be stupid to not try to find a way to use some of our pieces that we have aside from draft capital, because I think draft picks are pretty valuable. Obviously, you got to make big trades at some point, and I think we're pretty set with Jackson for our ruck position for the next 10 or so years. And I think Paddy Voss can pinch hit, and Reedy, I think if he ever needs to come in, can come in and do a job for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you sort of look at like the mold of Jackson type ruckman. So I look back to round 1 against Geelong. They had Sam De Koning in the ruck. We played Liam Reedy that game, and Sam De Koning absolutely touted him, and it was just because that sort of ruck just gives you an extra midfielder at the contest. It makes it, and like it's weird to me that Luke Jackson isn't playing more because JL is so hell-bent on winning the contest means you win the game. Playing that type of ruckman gives you an extra number around the ball. Sean Darcy's mobility since he's come back has been nowhere near from where it was. Like, he was a big boy before, but he could get around the ground, he could impact at ground level. And Luke Jackson, as you said, it's clear as day that he's the man that provides that at the moment. You, again, look at a guy like Tom De Koning. He does the exact same thing. Carlton look 10 times better when he's in instead of someone like Mark Pitternet. So, yeah, I think the sample size is fairly big across the league, that type of ruckman is the future. And yeah, Luke Jackson, look, last year, Liam Reedy, I remember he made his debut against the Giants, against Kieran Briggs, and he got torn to pieces. But Kieran Briggs is not a mobile ruckman. So yet again, Sean Darcy, if he is fit to play this weekend, it still makes no sense to play him, because Luke Jackson's mobility will tear Kieran Briggs to shreds if we play him as the number 1 ruck. So you look on a week-by-week basis, and you look at the opposition ruck, and you think, who's better for this matchup? Sean Darcy or Luke Jackson? 9 times out of 10, I'm picking Luke Jackson. Because around the ground, he is just such an advantage. His body has held up pretty well. Obviously, he had that 3-weeker this season, but it wasn't anything too serious. So, yeah, look, we've got to work that out at some stage. You sent me an article earlier from the West Australian. They're now starting to talk about it. It's really, if it hasn't already, picking up mainstream media attention. Obviously, Kane Corns has been big on it since he signed that huge deal. So, yeah, we've got to make a decision. And at the moment, yeah, it's not looking good.
Like, yeah, you can't... Yeah, you said it makes no sense to choose Sean Darcy. I feel like he could go all right head-to-head against a Briggs or a, who's Riley O'Brien at Adelaide. But, like, yeah, those are rucked at the past. Those blokes that are just... They work around the ground. They sort of just go toe-to-toe with the ruckman all day. And, yeah, like, even Tim English is an example of a ruckman that, I don't know, gets forward, moves around the ground a little bit better. I know he's not the best ruckman in the league right now, but last year against the Dogs, Tim English gave Sean Darcy a bath. Well,
Darcy Cameron on the weekend probably showed why he's probably All-Australian favourite at the moment in the ruck position. Yeah. Like, he was so good. Around the ground, the impact he makes is so crucial to how well Collingwood play.
Yeah, Sean Darcy just, I don't know, isn't offering that to us at the moment. And I'd love to have Big Swag win a premiership for us. I'd love for JL to be our premiership coach. Don't get me wrong. We come on this podcast and we sound a bit negative after a loss. But, yeah, I don't know. This is the Freo Faithful. It's the voice of the fans. And this is just honestly how we think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about the Darcy situation. Ever since he's come into the team, there's always been criticism about Darcy just given his body type. People criticising him for being fat. Let's be real. People have said that a fair amount.
Yeah.
So, like, he's always copped it. He's always going to cop it his whole career. He's slimmed down, and now people are saying his best asset was that he was a big boy and he was strong.
He can't win.
In 2022, he was an actual good forward. Like, if we could plonk him at full forward, he'd be able to take marks, but he's not having that impact around the ground anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. And I don't mind Vossi pinch hitting. I feel like he actually cracks in pretty well. We can move on from that game. Another point that came up was Amos going to the wing. I don't know how to feel about that. I'm not a fan of it, but yeah, I don't know.
No, I'm so against it. It's not even funny.
Well, he can't do anything at full forward.
Well, play him at Peel then. Like, if we're putting him on the wing, he's not good enough at this point in time. I've still got faith he'll be a good footballer for us. But at the moment, if we're putting him on the wing, what value is he?
Well, he can mark, for one. So down the line, he can be an option. He's good with his skills. He's a good kick. When he has the ball in hand, he's good. He just never has the ball in hand.
He's sprayed a few this season. He is in terms of field kicking. Yeah, I don't know. This is completely off topic, but going back to the midfield, a point that I wanted to make earlier. We were talking about missing Hayden Young and that big body mid. I think another dynamic of our midfield that we're currently missing massively is scoreboard impact out of that sort of area of the ground. I think Caleb Sarong sprayed a few on the weekend. Matt Johnson sprayed a few on the weekend. Andy Brayshaw, he had one shot at goal and nailed a really nice one on a tough angle. I feel like at the moment, Andy Brayshaw is the only person from that midfield actually making a scoreboard impact. I feel like he's the only one with the polish in front of goal. Shea Bolton, yeah. Midfield. True. I guess Shea probably put in that conversation. But yeah, I think guys like Caleb Sarong to actually go to that extra level really needs to work on that side of the game because Hayden Young in front of goal is so good. We know Andy Brayshaw's quality. But yeah, I think guys like Caleb and whoever else runs through there, Matt Johnson 0-3, really need to sort of work on that area of their game.
Sarong's a bit frustrating this season. Like, he's been a bit of a beat the bad teams bully, and then, I don't know. I haven't seen Sarong, and maybe it's because he's getting more focus on him now that he's a great player in the league, but I feel like, in the big games this year, he hasn't shown up. When we've needed to go to that extra level, Sarong was missing, like particularly in the second and third quarter of that game against the Pies. I thought he needs to be there for the 4 quarters, cracking in. Anyways, enough negativity. Let's look forward to the GWS game. All right, more negativity. Shit, they're a good side.
They are. They're quite good, aren't they?
They're a really good side. We thought our list was good. Look at the GWS list build. Ridiculous. Depth in every single position. We thought small forwards towered us up for Collingwood. I don't know if Toby Green's going to play, but it doesn't matter because they got Darcy Jones and...
He'll play. He finished off the game.
Is Brent Daniels in the side at the moment, or is he injured?
I don't think so. I watched that whole game. I didn't see him once. Now you mention it. So, yeah.
He tore us to shreds last year. But they got Darcy Jones. He's another small forward jet that they have. Jesse Hogan kicks 6.
I'm really keen to watch Brennan Cox match up on Jesse Hogan again. I'll tell you what. I was at NG Stadium last year, late in the season, finals on the line. It ended up being a close game. We lost by 10 points. I don't think I've ever been that angry at the football in my entire life. I was so close to throwing all of my belongings over the fence onto the field. It was so...
It's funny you say that because that loss was a turning point for me because I threw my phone. I'll show you right now. I threw my phone at my wardrobe that's behind me that game. I smashed it. That was Brennan Cox and Jesse Hogan battle.
And Bailey Banfield. Let's not forget about that. That 50.
I don't blame Brennan Cox for my phone being smashed. I blame it on my inability to control my emotion when watching a bunch of boys run around on a piece of grass. But yeah, that, like you were saying, fucking infuriating game, that one. And we've never won there, and we're playing there this week.
Yeah, so I know. So it's a terrifying task. I don't think we should forget that before that game on the weekend, which was a very impressive win, obviously, the Giants lost 3 in a row. They were staring down the barrel of 4 losses in a row if they went down on the weekend in what was a fantastic game. So, look, they have some vulnerabilities at the moment. I think one thing on the weekend that really got clicking for them was that midfield. That was Tom Green's best game of the season. Corey Wagner has to go to Finn Callaghan. He is their most damaging guy running out of the front of the contest. He's an absolute jet. Toby Green got bulk midfield time.
Corey Wagner, if they send Finn Callaghan forward on Corey Wagner, that's a bit of a mismatch, I think.
They won't do that. Callahan's been tagged this season, and they haven't done anything about it, so we've got to do it.
Back to that Collingwood game, we did such a good job on Nick Dacos. Corey Wagner did the best he could. I think he only had about 15, 16 touches. Had 2 shots on goal, Dacos, but I think Wagner did a really good job on him.
Yep.
But yeah, GWS away, it's a tough task. They haven't had the best month, like you said, but they're going to be there come the hairy part of the season, you'd think. They've been in finals over the years. Their list is mature. Yeah, stars all over the park. One of the best back sixes in the comp as well with Sam Taylor, Ash. Whitfield running half back. They've got everything. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough one to win this. What do you make of this GWS Freo matchup?
Yeah, look, I don't even know where to win this game because they have us covered all over the park. It is such a daunting task. I don't know what to do about our forward line, to be honest, because they are so fleek back there. All of their guys, like, we say that we can play tall and small real well. These guys are the prototype for being able to play tall and small real well. Every single one of their backmen are so good at playing that role. I mean, Connor Iden's season, he's in All-Australian form. Watching that guy, I just think about how much I'd love to have him at Freo. The fight he shows, the work rate he shows, his sort of leap is amazing at ground level, his ball usage. So he's going to be a real watch. I'm not sure who he goes to. He could literally go to anyone. I'm not sure if we stick with the full tools this week. I'm inclined to think we probably will, given the nature of their forward line. I mean, we could go for mobility, but yeah, that's an interesting watch, definitely. And then one thing as well, Nathan O'Driscoll returned last year in his first game of the season against the Giants. He's going to return again against the Giants, and he tore it up last season at NG. He had a really good game, so I'm hoping he brings something really different that we definitely lacked last week because we lacked that sort of dare from the half back to the middle of the ground sort of area. So yeah, his addition will be much welcomed. And I think the eyes, yet again, will be on the selection table. What do we do in that midfield? Is it finally time for Neil Erasmus to get a game? I've been pretty vocal on that we should manage Murphy Reid, whether it's this game or heading into the next few weeks. Look, he's a young player, but as we were talking about this before, we sometimes just draft players and just play him non-stop with very limited waffle time. The guy has not touched the teal and blue since he's come to Perth. So I think a few weeks down there wouldn't be too bad for him just for his development.
Who comes in for him though? Who offers what he offers?
That's the one thing. So Narkle's just gone down for 8 weeks. So he would probably be the one.
Narkle's out for 8 weeks.
Yeah, didn't you see? Yeah, he did his knee on the weekend.
Far out. I did not see that.
He would have been the one guy. So it's going to be real hard to do that. I'd be inclined to probably make him sub. Bring him on as a little bit of a fourth
Jack Deline. When's Jack Deline going to debut?
He is such a... I don't even know what his role at the club is, but I really hope he gets a game because...
He's a small forward, I reckon.
Yeah. Is he? I think he... I've seen him at training a bit, and he's never really, made me think, why is this guy at the club? He's done a few good things. Yeah. So, you know what? If Jack Deline gets a game at some point in time, I won't be angry.
Bring in Jack Deline.
God, let's not make this a fucking thing. But yeah, I'm not sure how we win this game, to be honest. It's a real daunting task. A ground we've never won at. The Giants are probably going to kick into gear now. Yeah, I'm a bit worried.
You know what's funny,
I've got hope.
Heading into that St Kilda game, we're all right, we're the better team. No excuses. We'll win this. Didn't win it. All right, going back to back home, playing Collingwood. I don't expect us to win it, but these are the games that we get up for. So I'm going to tip us to win it, and we lose it. And then it's if you look at the stats from last week, clearance numbers, inside 50 numbers are actually pretty good. And then we go over to GWS, and our forward line just clicks, and it's we beat GWS after coming on the podcast.
It will happen. The last time I was this negative about a game, on the Freo Adelaide preview, I went through 4 keys to win. And at the end of every one, I was like, yeah, we probably don't have them covered there. So, look, I don't really see a way in which we win this game. I tipped Adelaide. So that was the last time I was this negative for a game. So, hey.
Bring the negativity. No, let's not bring the negativity. Hey, fun fact that I learnt this week about Freo, right?
Go on.
Last week we had the Docker of the Week segment. That was a one and done. This week we got a fun fact about Freo segment. You know the old anchor... So you've got the Docker on your crest there, the green, white, and red. That was to symbolise the Italians of Fremantle. I didn't even know Freo had a big Italian influence.
Did you not? Have you mate? We've been to the Esplanade together. You know where the car park there?
Yeah,
at the Esplanade. Literally, that car park is for the Italian club of Fremantle. It's right there. It's a mainstay of the city. So look. We've got a big Italian influence down there, and I reckon we should go back to it.
It also says hard yakka on your jacket. and this has been Hard Yakka talking about Freo being shit. It's hard Yakka being a Freo fan at times, but we are forever faithful to this club, even though it knocks us
tests
out
us
a
at
bit.
times.
It does. I reckon let's wrap it up there, Noah. Thank you guys for watching episode. Is there another number 12 at the Dockers? Was there ever
Hugh
another?
Davies.
Hugh
is the
Davies,
current
yeah.
one, I think.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that. Make sure to rate 5 stars on Spotify. Leave a like on the video and have your comments. This is the Freo Faithful channel. We want to hear what you guys are saying about the Dockers. We'll be back on Saturday with fan cams for GWS. I'll be playing football while the Dockers are on, so I'm going to have to watch this after the fact. Thanks for joining me, Noah. I'll see you next week.